In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to set up a location selector in your forms. I'm going to implement 3 location selectors, one for country field, the next for the state field, and the last but not the least for the city field. You can see the finished product here. This form has different countries. In fact, it has all the whole countries in the world. So let's look for United States here. Select Maryland as the state, and under Maryland as the state, select any city that I want to select, maybe the city Eastern. So without wasting your time, let's go to the coding side and let me quickly set this up for you so you can implement it in your form. Welcome back. Without wasting your time, let me quickly set up the location selector for you. If you find this video helpful, please subscribe. Help me get to 1k subscribers. This is the index.html. I have already set up the form just so they will not waste time, and I've also set up the CSS that's making it look good. The only thing that I'm going to do for you is to set up the JavaScript. The way I'm going to do this, I'm going to use country.in. I'm going to use their API to be able to pull up countries. Let me show you the website. You can actually use the API. I'm going to share this code in my GitHub. You can have access to the API yourself instead of requesting an API key to be able to set this up. So this is the website I'm using. Or maybe if you're doing something for maybe production purpose, you might decide to request for your own API key. But my own API key will be available, the one I use for the country, state, and city, for you to use it and play around and understand how it works. So shout out to these guys. These are the people that made it possible for this pre-populated location selector. And with that being understood, let's go back here. Let me quickly set up the JavaScript code that's going to handle everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a event listener to pull up and fetch country. And while fetching the country, I'm going to be setting my API key that will help me to be able to access different countries from country.in software. I'm going to do that using headers and also trying to fetch the HTTP while set my API key using SCSE API key inside my header. Let's quickly set up the JavaScript that's going to do that. Set document.add event listener. Okay. Set DOM content loader as usual. Add function here, and inside this function, set this up. Inside my function, set a variable const country. So for the country, let's do const country. Let me call it country select. And for this country select, what I'm going to do is to get the class. If you look at the div here, I have a div called the location div, which I'm setting select, and inside each of these select there are classes. So I'm going to set and get these classes because that's the classes I'm going to use to set and be able to fetch these countries inside this particular form that I've set up here using select and option. The first class I'm going to get is the country class. Let's quickly set up the one for the country. Let's do country select, which I have called that. So inside the country to select, set it to be document.select query, and inside here .country, let me duplicate this so I can do the one for state and also the one for city. So this one I'm going to change it to be state, while this one I'm going to change it to be city. What I'm going to now do is to fetch the countries, and to fetch the countries I'm going to use fetch. Inside my fetch, get the HTTP of the API that I'm using. Remember I told you that we are pulling up API from country, state, city API, right? And I'm going to get the URL that's going to be able to help us to fetch countries from their API. Do HTTP. You know what? I'm going to just copy this. Just paste it here, put comma here, then I will set the headers. Okay, under the headers, XCSC API. So the XCSC API key is a custom HTTP header used for authentication purposes in HTTP requests. That's what I'm going to use to set my API key. Inside is my SCSC API. I put my API. I think I have it simply as I copied the one. You know what? I can just actually copy this so that I will not be wasting time. Let's paste this here. Okay, so now you can see my API key there. The next thing is to now do then set this response to be a function, arrow function, response, arrow function, and response.json. Another then, in this my then I'm going to get the data, set another arrow function, and in this one data, then I will do data dot for each country, then we'll do const option equals to document dot create element, and I'm gonna get option. Remove this plus here, I don't need that. What I'm trying to do here is to set arrow function actually. So when I get this option, set option dot value equals to country dot ISO2. ISO2 refers to the International Standard Organization, right? So you know each countries have their own unique code, which is like usually 2 alphabetical numbers, like for United States is known as US, right? All countries they have that. The iOS 2 refers to the iOS 3162 alpha standard number, which is the 2-letter code to represent countries. That's what I'm setting here. Once I set that, I'm going to now do another option.test content, and for this test content set it to be country.name. Okay, set this one to be country select.append the child, and inside here I'm going to set it to be option. Remember, the code is going to be available on GitHub. You can copy it, play around with it. So now with this setup, come down, let me close this down here. Come here, I will do .catch. With this .catch, use it to catch errors. If there's an error, then I will do console.log. Okay, let's do console.error actually. This is arrow function. I don't know why I keep doing that mistake. Console.error, and in this console.error, check the error loading countries so that we can have an error, then it will show us the error. This is it for fetching country. Now let's fetch state. To fetch state, we're also going to do similar thing that we did here. Remember what we did here. So what I'm going to do is to use country select. I'm going to call country select. Then I will add an event listener to it so that when a country is selected, there will be a change. Add change here. Once the country has been selected, let there be a change. Then I will set a function. Inside is my function. Do const, let's do country code equals to this dot value. Okay. Set state select dot inner HTML and set an empty string here, then we'll clear. Once this is done, let me duplicate and also clear the one for city. But for this one, I'm going to do city select. Copy this fetch thing that I did here, because I'm also going to use the same API keys to handle that. I will paste this here, but I'm now going to make some changes. This is going to surface, but what I'm going to do is inside here put a slash, and let's put this here. Then we'll get the country code. The country code we set there, right? But for this, I don't need this for that. Let's use this instead. Change this one too. I will now do /state because that's what I'm getting. With this setup, the API key remains the same, but our HTTP has changed to enable us to get the one for the state. Do the same thing I did here. Copy this then. It's as simple as that. Okay, let's even copy with the error here. Let me put it down here. Change this one to be state. Also change this to be state. Then this should be state.name. Then change this one to be state select. Change this one to be error loading state. Okay, now with this setup, we are done for the state. Let me do the one for city, then we will test run our code to see how it works. So just to make everything easy, I'm just going to duplicate this here, but right now we are just going to make some changes. The one for city changes to be state select, because that's what we are using to check for the city based on the state that was selected. So state select dot add event listener, we also do the change thing, then const state code. Let me also use the country code, but I'm gonna also add the one for state. So what I'm gonna do is duplicate this. So for this one is going to be state, while this one is going to be country. So let me change this one to be state code, but here change this one to be country select dot value. Okay, based on the country that was selected. Now clear city.select, but I don't need to clear state. So for this one, what I'm going to do is to have this, but I'm going to duplicate so I can also make provision for the one for state. So this state is going to remain here. Put another slash here, then put this state code, put slash and put city. This remains the same. Data for each, then we'll do option and option.value. For this one, I'm going to change it city.name. Then the test content to, I'm going to change it to be city.name. Change this one to be city select, and we'll also catch error for cities. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to cut this off. Everything should be inside this our document. Paste this one here. Everything here. I'm going to copy it, select it. Okay. So everything here is under this function. Come down here, paste it. Likewise, this. Everything is meant to be under the function. Paste this there. Changes to the state. Okay, let's cross check and make sure everything looks good to avoid unnecessary errors. So let's save this and go back here, refresh this, then let's try. We select Afghanistan, Zabu. Let's select this one. Okay, our city is not working yet. Let's go back and ensure something is wrong. Okay. Oh, there's an error in this. This should be inner. This is where the error is coming from. I know that mistake will still be here in our HTML. Let's make sure there's no else where we have that same error. Okay, so let's look at the one for the city. This one is meant to fetch for city, country code, state code, then city selector. Cross check the HTTP request that I'm sending here and make sure nothing is wrong. What I'm doing is to add an event listing and change. Then I'm doing country code, country select the value, then the state code, this the value, then I'm clearing it. Once I clear it, I set a fetch that will get the country state, then I do country code / state, then state code / cities. Data for each. Okay, this is meant to be city and not state. Then the const option will set it to be document.create, then city.name, then option. I think that was the reason. Let me save this. Then let's go back and refresh and try again. I'll select Argentina. And we select the city. As you can see, everything is working. This is how you set up a location selector in your form. That was quite simple, wasn't it? The code will be available on my GitHub. You can use it, make changes to it, and build your own, and also practice. Remember to give this video a thumbs up, and if possible, subscribe so you can be updated when I make videos. Alright, that's it for the video. See you next time. I remain your humble servant, Josh Vibe. Till we meet again, peace out and bye bye.